everyone, it's me, Nikki, back again with another video. I know I just posted a video last night on my Thanksgiving tips and kind of ideas that I use, but one of my beautiful subscribers had left me a message and said, hey, I saw the menu card that you showed on that video, but could you do a tutorial to show us how to make it? And so that's what I did really quick today, just to show you how I make my little menu cards, which are great keepsakes for my guests when they come for dinner. It's great to do around Christmas time, Thanksgiving, holidays, baby showers, anytime. So what I want to do is basically take you through and show you how I make them. Okay, to start, I want to show you the supplies that you will need to make your menu cards. And basically, you're going to need some adhesive. This is just my little punch taper here from Martha Stewart. But you can use two-sided tape, which I'm actually going to use two-sided tape because of the type of paper I'm using. You're going to need your paper that you're going to use to make your menu cards on it. And to start, you're going to need a 8.5 by 11 sheet of cardstock type paper. This is a thicker grade paper. Cardstock, you can get it at Michael's, anywhere. You want to get a beautiful shimmer to it or something that's just really pretty. As you can see the design on here. And so that just really makes your menu card stand out. So when you're looking at your paper, look for something that's really pretty and that's light so that your menu will show once you print it. Again, I just printed it on the computer using Word. I just made 2 text boxes on each side and just did 2 on one paper. You should be able to fit 2 menus. And, you know, on your menu cards, you know, I just did a basic menu here, just writing out the food, but you can put descriptions of your food, if it's a family recipe or the ingredients or just whatever you want. Then you're going to need 2 different other styles of paper because we're layering the paper to give a great effect. So you're going to need another cardstock paper, and it needs to be a cardstock, not just regular paper, just cardstock. And you can get that from Michael's. And then you want something that has some glimmer or some pretty shine to it or pretty texture to it. And this is a beautiful textured paper. It's a gold tone with peacock blue. If you see, I'll put it up close. It has peacock blue in it, and it just really shimmers. It's not a cardstock. It's just a very flimsy type of paper, but that's fine, long as you have your base paper be cardstock so that when you hold your card, it has a card feel to it. Then you need your ribbon, and you want to do 2 ribbons to give a really layered effect. And I use 1 sheer ribbon and 1 peacock color ribbon. And so you want to coordinate your ribbon with your paper. And then of course your embellishment. And I got these, you can get these all day long at one of your craft stores, Michael's or anything like that. You can use feathers, you can use flowers, whatever you like. And then the next thing you want to use is a paper trimmer. You don't have to, this is one of my paper trimmers, but if you don't have a paper trimmer, you can use scissors and a ruler, but paper trimmer does make your cut very clean and nice. You can get them on Amazon.com. You can get them at any craft store. They range from $10 to $20, depending on the kind you get. But, you know, again, if you don't want to invest in it, you can get just a ruler and scissors and go from there and do it the old school method. But I do encourage you to get the paper trimmer because it does cut your paper great. So let's get started on our menu card. So it's an 8.5 by 11 sheet, and we have it printed out. So basically what we want to do is we want to cut each individual card out to make each individual menu. And of course you want to print enough for how many you want to make. Because this is it's 11 inches long, we know that 5.5 inches is what I'm going to have to cut so that I can cut down the center of my page so that my paper is cut evenly. So then you're going to get your paper trimmer, or if you're going to use a ruler and scissors, you get your ruler and scissors, because what you want to do is now we want to cut our paper down by the 8.5 by to cut it in the center so that we have 2 menu cards. And so basically with the trimmer, all you're going to do is, it has the ruler and everything on it. You lift your little bar here, and it's kind of like your old school paper cutter that you had in school, you know, those kind of things. And then basically using the ruler, that's the guide that's on your trimmer. And when you get your trimmer, you'll see the ruler. It's clear of where it's at. And so you're just going to move your card all the way over till you get to 5.5, because again, 5.5 will give us a cut, you know, center or paper. And so we have 2 equal cuts of menu cards. Okay, then you just take your trimmer and you simply press down and trim your paper off, and you see that clean cut that you get? Simple, very simple. So once you get your trimmer, just once you get used to it, it's so easy to use. I use my trimmer for so many different things. So now we have our two menu cards, and that paper is just gorgeous, you guys. I love that paper. You can't really see it on the video, but it really has a nice little shimmer and it's perfect. So now what we have to do is we're going to trim our second layer of paper, which is this beautiful gold and peacock blue paper, and I'm going to sit it on there. And because I know that my white piece of paper that has my menu listed on it is cut at 5.5, so I know I want to make the gold a 1/2 inch bigger. So I want to cut that at 6 so that I have a nice little trim around. So what you want to do is you want to cut this paper 6 inches in width down, and so that you have the proper setting there. Okay, now we have our paper on the trimmer to cut it down to 6 inches, and see that easy splice, and see how great that cutter works. And now I have that. And of course, this is a 12 by 12 sheet of paper, so I can, of course, get 2 pieces out of the one. So you want to think about that also when you're making your sizes of how big you want your menu card and things, because you want to get the most amount out of the paper that you can. And so now, again, I want to look it and put it down, and I want to turn it around, and I want to measure my paper and make sure that I'm doing, it's the right way here. And of course, this is 8.5. So what I want to do is I want to do 9 inches. So I want to cut my paper lengthwise, height-wise, 9 inches, because that will get my top cut off the way I need it cut off. So let's do that. Okay, so I have it back on my handy dandy trimmer, got it at 9 inches, and I sliced it down so I have my length the way that I want it. And so now you see when I sit it on my card, I have my second layer of my card complete. So now on to the third layer. And of course, I want to say real quick, if you have spare paper, you can make small little name place cards, coordinating name place cards if you choose. So, that's a cute little idea to do to coordinate, make it smaller, but you want to, that's just a neat idea I wanted to throw out there also. Okay, now it's time for your final layer, which is your cardstock. And remember, this final layer needs to be, it can't be a flimsy regular paper. It has to be a cardstock paper, the thicker grade paper. And so what you want to do is you want to measure that out. Now, of course, you want to, however you want. Some people like to see a little more, some people like to see a little less. Just whatever is visually pleasing to you is how you want to cut your final layer. So I think what I want to do, and I go here, so I know that I did 5.5 on my first layer. I know I did 6 on my next layer. So 6.5 is what I'm going to cut this widthwise, so that I show just enough of that peacock blue. So now to get the cutter out and to cut the blue. Okay, we're getting our blue all cut and ready. And, of course you want to cut it the appropriate length, which I think for where I'm at now, I'm on my third layer, so I want to do 9.5 so that I can get the proper length of my my menu card. So I know that my paper is going to be 6.5, and I know that my height is going to be 9.5 for my blue paper. So then you're going to sit it on top, and once you get it cut to the right size and everything put together, you're going to use your 2-sided tape to adhere them all 3 down together. And basically just taking 2-sided tape, putting it on the back and sticking it down, and then we're ready to move on to the ribbon and everything. So right now what I'm doing is I'm cutting it my 9.5 in length so that it gives me just enough. It gives me just enough of that blue around the edge to really look good. Again, this is not difficult. You're basically just using your eye and just making it the way you want. Now we're putting the ribbon around, and I went ahead and put the ribbon around, but my seam is in the back, and you don't want to do that. You want your seam in the front so that your embellishment will hide it, and then you want to staple it right there to make a little gathered point. So I usually hot glue it together to secure it, and then staple it if you want to staple it down so that it can all stay together. You don't want to do it too tight because you want your menu card to be able to move in between the ribbon. So you don't want to gather your paper up too tight into the ribbon. So give yourself just enough room there. And then it's time to add that beautiful embellishment. Again, use flowers, feathers, whatever you want to use. And then you're going to simply put hot glue on the center where your seam is. And what you want to do is put a scrap piece of paper in between there so that you don't get any on that beautiful menu card that you just made. And so just put a generous amount of hot glue there, depending on the size of your embellishment. Mine is a little heavier, so I like to put a good amount so that it holds it well. And then sit it on top of there and let it dry. You don't want to move your little scrap piece of paper until it dries so that it doesn't damage your menu card that you worked so hard on. So, and then once that's all good and dry, you're just going to pull your scrap piece of paper out and you are totally finished. Again, this is very easy to do. You know, you're basically just cutting it to look and layer it to look the way you want it to look. And when you're making multiples, it goes by really fast. And I know it seems like it may take a little time to make one, but when you're doing multiples, it goes by so fast. And what a beautiful keepsake for your holiday season. This is great around Christmas time to do also. And it just gives a great addition to your table. You know, throw your beautiful charger and your plate on there with your menu card, and your guests will walk in and look, and they will be pleasantly surprised. So I think that it's a fun and inexpensive. It's so inexpensive to do. You know, the paper is just so inexpensive. And with that scrap paper, you can also make coordinating place card holders to put their names on it and put place cards holders there. So those are really simple to do. It's the same concept of taking the three different papers and layering it in a smaller size and putting their names on it. So I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that it was helpful. I'm sorry I couldn't get it in the original video, but I'm glad I was able to do it. Have a great day.